Okay, and it's gonna be Alfheim. Alright, so that's a fun map. I was slightly worried if it would be water map, it might not be such an interesting game. But the decider on Alfheim definitely is nice, because I don't exactly think that there have been all that many Alfheims actually played this season. I really kinda thinking that not. This might be really one of the very few ones, as Schultz is already casting one of his great hunts, and apparently it's gonna be cast on... Oh, well, I don't really like this all that much. Usually. Because it usually means that you're gonna be staying with the starting half for quite some time, and you're gonna be moving only later somewhere else. At which point, of course, you're already gonna be advancing into the next stage, or rather into the next age, and you might be really wanting to be in a bit more safety. So you might want to even leave a few hunters in there and basically move once half of them is gone, just move on to the other source, basically like keeping in the normal proceedings, and then basically have some safe hunt in his base in case he needs it. And he kinda might need it, because of course he's gonna be against double Oranosis. You can see that it's gonna be Zeus in the pocket. That's a definitely nice spawn for KeeNs. They're gonna be having more on the right flank, and he's gonna be fighting, of course, against Brigade, so that's gonna be a very nice matchup. Poseidon versus Oranos. I'll be definitely favoring the Poseidon here. And of course, because of the amount of skill in basically the current form, I'll be definitely rating Brighead above More, even though More is not really bad at all. Yeah, I kinda thinking that Brighead is better currently. So let's see if that's gonna be proven true, or if the team game is gonna be a bit different and improving even further more champions' chances against their opponents from the ATs of Death. In the pocket, it's gonna be Joe, so I'm really thinking this is a very good spawn for both sides. They are having basically the civilizations they wanted in the pockets. Ra in the pocket, superb. And they're having, of course, the Zeus in the pocket as the Oranosis are on the flanks. That's also very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. And we are then, of course, on the left side, going to be looking at plenty of hunt apparently for everybody. But what is interesting is that actually Green Sea Squash is having quite nice gold mine in there. That's very good news for, of course, the opponents, as they will be potentially able to raid him and try to gold starve him. But at the same time, he's having a very nice gold mine at the very back that potentially could be guardable. You can just place a short wall there, and mustn't forget about this one in here either. And since he's probably gonna be moving there as well because of the hunt, he already might be thinking about something along those lines. Otherwise, some extra gold in the front. There's gonna be extra gold, of course, behind the bases. Actually, quite plenty of it right now behind More. You can see he's having 3 big gold mines in there. That's actually very good indeed for him, as apparently his gold mine is at the back, so not really all that much of an issue for him. The same could be said right now about Omega X Blast, so not really any kind of problem for him as far as somehow guarding against that. We are right now at 2 minutes 44 seconds with the temple right now being built for him, as on the other side of the map, pretty much the same. You can see a Brigade taking a few of the elks, or rather caribous from the middle of the map, of course, as maybe he will have to move there as well. But yeah, maybe he's just gonna be luring them all into the vicinity of the TC, which could be helping him a bit, or maybe also not. Right now, let's see where he's actually gonna be moving. Probably into the middle. Yes, so this is basically what he's scavenging. A bit more scavenging there in the middle as well. But I'm kinda curious if there's some extra hunt, for example, about here. I'd be kinda thinking so. Yeah, there could be another source, so they wouldn't really discount that kind of possibility, as there is nice gold mine for him on the right, and quite probably, if the other side of the map is any kind of clue, yeah, there's gonna be another in here, and there is actually another hunt for him, but not really a huge one, just the double of the deer. Yep, they're just having... And that's actually a nice pair. That's actually male and female. That's actually a nice spawn, this one as well. So quite a lot of actually design thought into little things went into the game from Ensemble Studios. At any rate, that's a relic for cheaper villagers. Definitely very nice one for the boom. Otherwise, we're gonna be looking at some plenty of relics in here for Archer's Ballista, Cairo Ballista, Pierce Attack. Good one. Good one indeed. Actually cheaper myth units, that's not half bad, considering this is next to Odin. Maybe could be useful in the Heroic Age or whatnot. Otherwise, Relic 4. Faster myth unit training time, nothing all that crucial. Maybe for Zeus in the Mythical Age for Colossi could be useful. Trio of Monkeys. Why not in the early game? Special attacks more often 4, of course. The Mythic units as well, as you are also getting cheaper walls and gates for Brigade. could be potentially useful if he's actually going for anything like that. He might be actually coming in there for the wall, exactly as he is. As more champions apparently scouting all around him. You can see the oracles basically trying to see where he will be radiant or whatnot. As right now the Kataskopos is doing pretty much the same right next to the opponent's base, who is 50% into Prometheus, which is not really that fast. You can see that's gonna be 515 advance. That's actually interestingly slow for Oranos, but it might be kind of leaning into, yeah, exactly, getting the second TC in here, and it seems like that exactly that will going to be happening. Brigade, unfortunately for him, he doesn't have any kind of scout in there, and he doesn't seem to be moving anywhere there, as he is quite aggressive though in his base, so that's definitely nice to deny some kind of early economy, though of course Jason, or rather Theseus, of course, as we are with Poseidon, is probably gonna be having a few issues staying alive in the long run, but he at least did force both of these villagers not to really gather anything all that much for this time being. So this is very nicely played by the red player, and of course quite a significant problem for the opponent. In the meantime though, Omega X Blast from KeeN is already on the food villages, quite nice positioning, and it's gonna be costing one of the villages to Brickhead, which is something he didn't want at all. And well, even though he's going for second DC as well, it needs to be the one with the safe ones at the back, and we are also looking at right now. Interesting forest fire, so even though he didn't really kill any villages whatsoever, he did force them yet again into idle time, and much more importantly, he actually killed one of the manors. And at this point, this is actually a significant issue. You can see a Green Sea Squash is actually housed, and he needs to right now build a manor. So, oh, this is a huge problem. Huge problem for the teal player, and that's not what he wanted at all, as we apparently are looking at one of the centaurs being dead. That should be, of course, one of the centaurs for Brickhead, which is gonna be leaving two of them still alive for Omega X Blast. And let's check, for example, some early upgrades. Lone Wanderer, of course, for Odin for better Ulfsarks, makes sense. So apparently Brickhead is gonna be maybe losing even a few more villages. This is actually quite nice positioning in that they can go so deep. Yeah, exactly. They can probably go even through. This is definitely correct for Brickhead to right now finish with that, but they cannot really go anywhere else from this position, so that is in the meantime safe. Otherwise, on the left side, apparently the Ulfsarks are finally getting up in numbers against Green Sea Squash, who was quite nicely delayed. It was definitely unexpected play. I'm not really even thinking that Shelty was kinda expecting that could happen, but it was definitely huge help, and that was quite a nice little play at the early stage of the game. We are right now though going to be looking at what other players are doing. For example, right now Dra coming for the second TC, scouted in there, but they are definitely missing plenty of walls in there, which is exactly leaving the door open for Green Sea Squash. So he's right now advancing forward, and this is just kind of underestimation. You can see the Ulfsark is there, or rather even still scaling. So this is, I'm not entirely certain whose fault it is, but it looks like more Shelties. That probably they didn't communicate properly, because Joe did finish with the wall in the middle, Brickhead on the right side, so yeah, we could be kind of, oh, we should be careful. So apparently those, oh, not really bears, but of course the centaur polemarchs are still very much alive and attempting to get into the red base, so he should be somehow trying to at least close up the gate, because yeah, it's just basically letting opponents into the placement where they don't really want to go. In the meantime, Green Sea Squash, even though he has found his way all the way to the back of the hunt of Shelty, he's having still plenty of Ulfsarks in there to be quite dangerous to all the raiding party that is right now in his base. And kinda would be definitely liking if all the relics across the map were actually targeted and collected, because there is another important relic for the early game, 2 lions. Even though it's not really anything huge, it basically the early game is all about the numbers, and if you can just basically increase your army by 2 units for absolutely free, well, who wouldn't want to take it? Who wouldn't want to take it at all? Well, of course, he's right now trying to see something else on the map, if there is something to basically raid or whatever. Unfortunately for him, there doesn't seem to be anything like that at all. You can see that basically all the villages from Mor are quite next to the base, and not really anywhere all that far away. But this is actually interesting, as Mor is going for this game quite aggressively, and basically trying to prove me wrong in the early game, that Brigade should be having the advantage in this game, because so far he definitely isn't. He's taken the game kinda passively, has to be said. Well, kinda. Definitely passively. His only aggression so far was basically the raiding on the wood villages in the very early stage, but otherwise absolutely nothing. And he basically even let in more to attack his allies. This is definitely not ideal for him, and for his allies of course either. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, man, getting it. But well, of course the TC is finished right about now, but I'm kinda looking at how deities of death are actually taking them. And they are taking them at the back, which is of course well, is the safest approach, but at the same time, they're basically relinquishing the map control to the opponents. You can see that even Teal, so much army sending forward, is gonna be more or less controlling the front TC of Shelty. As on the right side, of course, the TC has been already stolen, so Moore is at 3. At 9 minutes, it could be kinda hard for him to actually keep up, as right now Brighead is basically right now finally getting some army up as well. But still, it could be useful as irrigation is coming in there, and of course you will be expecting, well, rather, are already in the heroic age for the Rap player, which should be the only one, yes, and nobody else is advancing at the same time, and it's looking quite promising for him. But let's look on the left side for the battlefield, because of course, right about now, I'm kind of thinking that this is getting into time where Shelty will be needing the assistance from his teammate Joe, so Joe definitely needs to hurry up. He's having at least, well, not really any kind of upgrade. I was looking for at least mediums. Apparently not there yet. Not there yet at all. And he's also losing the tower, so this is really basically all about the proper timing, which seems to be exactly on time, as at the time when it actually looked like the Shelty might be actually falling back, it's not really going to be happening all that much, as finally the spam from the Egyptian is coming into play. In the meantime, apparently those two polemarchs are still very much alive, trying to kill a villager here and there, which could be working, even though, of course, those Ufsak Tosser is gonna be dealing with them in reasonable time, because they don't really have anywhere to run. They can only go next to the TC, which is gonna be resulting into plenty of damage. And, well, similar probably is gonna be true for Brighead, because the TCs are quite nicely positioned for more, and only potentially he could be targeting this gold mine, which seems to be exactly where he's right now going. Yep, so that's gonna be that. It's gonna be a bit of a disruption of the economy for more, as of course the economy is also growing quite strong for Omega X Blast, who has taken a second DC at the back and is also going for the one in the very middle of the map. And this is actually important, or rather interesting spot, because this is literally the center of the map, and you can see that there are plenty of gold mines all around. So yeah, this is pretty much the center of power in here in full. In the meantime, I enjoy going for quite an interesting and tactical, very tactical locals. This is not really to kill villages, but to kill all the farms. Indeed, kill all of them. There were about, I don't know, 7, 8. It's quite a lot. Maybe would have liked a bit more to potentially wait for some locals on the Atlanteans, especially here on Moor. That would have been so much deadlier, because apparently there wasn't any kind of cooperation by the teammates. And yeah, he was paying the full price for all the farms in there. He didn't get the cheaper ones, for example, from the Greek, which definitely would have been quite a big help. At least I think so. Couldn't be entirely certain, but I didn't really notice that there was different colored dots in there, so I don't really think that that happened. It's a nice bonus, but well, if you don't take it, of course, you're not gonna be having any kind of advantage from that. In the meantime, Shelty taking a 30C, even though he is right now disrupted, it is not going to be captured just now. But with all the army right now coming there from Joe, and even though from Moore, it should be more or less secure, because the army from the heroic age player is just gonna be so much better, especially considering all the mythical units in there. So Green Siege Squash heroic, then that's gonna be heroic for Moore and for Joe already Osiris. Oh man, we get into Aphrodite. So definitely nice upgrades in there. As of course with this heroic age, you will be expecting, with the Brighead already having the medium Hippicons in there, that he's gonna be making some kind of attempt on this TC reasonably soon. Would be maybe expecting some kind of fortress for Petrobola and whatnot to make it easier. But still, as long as actually Moore doesn't have any kind of upgrades like Masonry or Fortified TC, couldn't right now remember how is it actually called, then it should be fairly easy-ish for Brighead to take it down even with normal units, as he's still continuing with the Radiant, trying to deny the gold as much as he can, as the Kataskopos of course waiting at the back, trying to wait for some kind of underworld passage a bit later, which is of course not gonna be coming from them, because of course he is a Poseidon, so he doesn't have Apollon, but there could be some kind of opportunity for possibly still the Shifting Sands. You can see they're available to Joe, and maybe some kind of other shenanigans that he could be seen a bit later. In the meantime, Curse is being cast by Brighead to basically get rid of... Wow, that was deadly. You can see 4, 5, 6, 7 piggies. So 7 units dead, right there. Or maybe even more. Huh, it's actually looking like a 9 units dead. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's really looking like actually he killed 9 of them. Because there are no piggies on this map, there are cowies on Alfheim. So actually 9 units gone through Curse. That's one hell of a turnout actually right now for Brigade. And actually this is what's allowing him right now to basically deal with this quite easily. Because 9 units, that's like at least a third of the army. More like a half at this point of the game. 4 more, and of course he's gonna be right now relinquishing it to Brighead, and he's gonna be down to just the 3, because he did in the meantime capture the 1 at the back. Symphony Amber's good numbers, but they could be basically sent into the battlefield a bit more, because Hippolyta, yeah, she's not basically known for being the strongest, the strongest actually hero to deal with the fly units. In the meantime, in here, we are of course in, well, quite interesting setup. I definitely don't like this from Omega X Blast, because having so many farms in basically the front TC that is under attack and definitely was bound to be under attack, that's not exactly what you would be really recommending to anybody. So he's gonna be probably quite unhappy about that kind of result. As you're looking at plenty of god powers, even some shifting sands have been cast from about here, and they were somewhere here to help basically deal with the Tartarian gate that's been cast by KeeN Squash. Interesting position, would have liked a bit more to cast it about somewhere here to basically target both of the town centers potentially and more of the economy. Ascad is right now through exactly at the right moment, and well, Joe is gonna be dealing with that, and in the meantime of course we're also gonna be seeing how Blue is gonna be finally finishing with stealing the TC from Green Sea Squash due to the use of course, the Frost. So Green Sea Squash is right now completely useless. For about 40 seconds, he's gonna be stolen a TC, another huge disaster for him. Palace is not gonna be finished, so this is quite a good position for the ATs of that. As on the right side, of course, you can see a Brighead already having heavy Hippicons with finally a baseline of upgrades in there, is gonna be moving ever forward and trying to basically control what his opponent is going to be doing. In the meantime, apparently Omega X Blast is recognizing that More is gonna be needing assistance. More is advancing through Omega X Blast as well, and we're gonna be waiting where actually the next of course Tartarian Gate is going to be cast, as in the meantime markets are going to be coming up. Apparently there's gonna be a bit of a battle in the middle. You can see Omega is having just medium Hippicons, not really yet even the heroes. Yeah, rather heroic ages heavies. Because there are plenty of units from Shelty, quite nicely present, but does he have some kind of reasonable upgrades? No, he isn't. You can see he's having still basically just the medium wolf sacks, that's absolutely it. Not really all that ideal. At 60 minutes you would be expecting a bit more, but he may be actually aiming for a Ragnarok. 45 TC in the meantime, so apparently not. I was kind of thinking maybe, yeah, it could be Balder, but not yet. He seems to be really taking things a bit slowly. But it has to be said, it kind of makes sense, because once Green Sea Squash is at just 2 TC, it's gonna be always hard for him to somehow stand a chance in there. As of course you will be expecting that Joe, nicely using the cover of the trees, is going to be trying to take care of the town center through the catapults. Nicely played. Very nice little play right about now by Joe. In the meantime, on the right side, the TC has been finished for Brighead, as we have seen a bit before, as he's getting rid of the manor in the meantime as well. Apparently somebody didn't like the piggies all that much. Killed all of them, poor guys. Poor guys indeed. But of course there's gonna be quite a decent army from War Champion and quite plenty of Steamfall Embers, which definitely could be an issue. Because as I've said a bit before, you mustn't forget right about now Brigade is having just a few Toxotai without all that many upgrades. You can see just the baseline, not even mediums. And just Hippolyta. This is just not good. Against 4 Steamfall Embers they still could be dealing quite a significant damage, and I'm kinda thinking that's exactly what's gonna happen here. In the meantime, 45 TC Hephaestus for Omega X Blast, so his power spike is gonna be coming up reasonably soon as well. As for Joe, Medjay for better, of course, mercenaries, and otherwise some interesting bronze upgrades already. Alright, let's switch into the middle, where apparently there is quite nice communication going on by DTs of Death, as they're gonna be doubling onto Omega X Blast, and he should be losing this TC without any kind of fight all that much. Without any kind of fight. The fight is gonna be in there, but it's gonna be completely useless. Completely useless indeed, as the TC is gonna be falling into Joe's hands, and yet again, this is gonna be confirmed importance of the position of the TC in the middle of the map, because once it comes into Ra's hands, he's just gonna be spamming mercenaries everywhere across the map. Like absolutely everywhere. It's gonna be very hard for the opponents to deal with, as you also need to switch at the bottom, where More is coming for the Titans as well, but he is much more importantly trying to take down the TC, which is most probably not gonna be working out. He's having just basically 1 siege. But yeah, with the reinforcements coming in, you can see heavy Murmills and Fanatics as well, baseline of upgrades in there, but he's fighting against heavies also, and what are the upgrades? Already bronze, and copper, so very nice indeed. Very nice upgrades in there, so definitely liking that. Definitely liking that form. Of course, Brighead as far as some kind of long-lasting battle goes, because he should be able to defend this, even though it's costing him quite a bit. So yep, TC is gonna be taken just about now, as Blue is also all across the map, trying to target the TC at the back. Does he have Masons? No, he doesn't. That's a fortified TC, and with all of those Ulsaks being ready in there, with not many upgrades, but at least something is coming in there, it should be not really that hard for him to actually get rid of them, because I'm fairly certain that Jason alone is not gonna be able to stop this all that much. In the meantime, Mythical Army is right now coming forward with all of those Therm Frost Giants coming on the palace. Yeah, that's definitely nice double attack from basically both flanks, and with Green Sea Scourge being right now forced to resort to just only one TC for the population limit. This is gonna be quite hard, and especially since he's also losing the economy at the very same second. On the right flank, More Champion though is pushing forward very nicely against Brighead, so Brighead is definitely having significant issues with him. And the Tatarang is apparently still very much alive. But yeah, right now, KeeNs are gonna be calling it a game, as Deities of Death apparently are gonna be prevailing, and they're gonna be taking the first spot in Division number 2 and advancing right into the semifinals. So this was actually a very good game, very nice decider. That was looking all over the place for a moment at the start. It really looked like that actually Deities of Death might have picked not the best kind of strategy. But you mustn't forget that it was, basically 3 players. More, Green, Sea Scourge and Omega, or all playing basically Feudal Age aggression, or rather Feudal Age, Classical Age aggression. Whereas for the opponents, it was just basically flanks. They were letting Joe to do basically what he does best, as Ra, to TC faster heroic, and exactly he advanced at exactly the right time, when the situation was getting dire for Shelty, like really dire, as he was under attack from basically 2 opponents. Well, exactly at the time, it was when Joe emerged from his shell, with his army, and that was what saved the situation, and from there on it wasn't really that hard, even though on the right side basically Brigade was having quite a significant difficulty with More, had to be said. More definitely quite nicely aggressive, but maybe just a bit too much. He just didn't have enough to somehow stabilize the situation in there. But the game changer definitely was the curse. It took about 9 units, or about exactly 9 units from a battle on one spot from More, and that's just something you cannot really overcome all that much. So very nicely played by the Keys of Death. They were patient, but also very nicely played by KeeN. So definitely keep an eye on them. They're definitely not any kind of pushovers or whatnot, and they most probably will be having quite a strong influence on how the playoffs are actually gonna be playing out. So let's see how that will fare out in the next stages and in the next weeks of the playoffs. So here we go, let's check onto the post game. That is gonna be for Joe. Well, it's kinda hard for me to actually choose who was playing the best. It was overall good team strategy by Dots, even though it was so. It worked in the end. And for the opponents, yeah, well, basically all played quite competently, so not really any kind of issue, or not even thinking that anybody would be above another player in there. Just a top quality game all around, so definitely nice what we have seen. In the meantime, you can see that in here military, Omega X Blast 77 military count killed 36. Not entirely huge, has to be said. For Green Sea Squash, not that different, 107.67. So efficiency was definitely something, even for More, 93 and 59. So you can see that basic efficiency was definitely for Dots. And well, efficiency with units, that is what actually is winning you the games. So that is one of the reasons why actually Dots were able to prevail. Better timing of upgrades and whatnot, it seems like. Yeah, you can see the curse here. Cast by Brighead on More. A sharp drop in there. A very sharp drop. From about 15 to about 8-7. And he was having basically at that point no army. So no wonder that actually Brighead could take the TC in the front back to him. Well, nicely played. GG.